Feels good to be back in the saddle. Thank you so much for watching this new episode of Side Hustle Inspiration today. I wanted to make a video specifically pointing out things people who are interested in side hustles that are currently working should not accept, or people in the job market looking for better paying work. You know, this is a topic that a lot of people don't speak about online. Employers, some, not all, but some, they tend to play mind games in the pre-employment interview process and after they hire new employees. Hopefully this video today will give you something to think about in leveling up your expectations and knowing when to cut your current employer or a prospective employer off because you notice the red flags ahead of time. See, I speak from experience, which is part of the reason why I made this channel. But I have over 25 years of experience, and actually I started side hustles before I had my working papers at 14 in Brooklyn. I would sometimes shovel snow around the local neighborhood in Flatbush, or I would sweep people's steps for $4 or $5. I had something legitimate going. But on the flip side, I wasn't always an angel either. But my first job, official job, I worked at King's Plaza in Brooklyn. And at this time, I'm young and naive. I don't know anything about the workforce, so I'm just happy to have a job. I'm not quite sure how long the job worked or, how much I made a week. Maybe it was $35 a week or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember. But over the years, I have taken quiet notices of instances where employers do things physically, emotionally, mentally, subliminally, and they get away with it. And this is part of the reason why I made this channel, not just to inspire people about starting side hustles, but most importantly, taking the negative from employers, taking the negative from coworkers, taking the negative from workplace harassment, and learning to see the good in it for the purpose of starting a side hustle, profiting from the adversities that you have to endure in the workplace, because no workplace, no company is perfect. Nowhere. It's just different people. It's the same game, but different people. So today, I'm going to point out a few things that I've noticed in the pre-employment interview process, things that I've noticed from the past that I just want to point out and talk about. I want to itemize these things, and hopefully this video will give you something to think about. I'm going to start off with the employer calls you. You either don't answer, well, you purposely ignore the call, or you unintentionally missed the call. You call the employer back to discover they're allegedly not picking up the phone on purpose. This is one of potential mind games that employers play, and here's what I feel, which you may feel differently, or someone else may have a different opinion, and that's quite fine. There is no right or wrong answer in this video. An employer may potentially ignore you when you call them back because, this is my personal opinion, they are allegedly playing mind games with you to the point, number one, they want to see how eager you are to have the job. So if they don't pick up the phone the first time, they may just be doing it on purpose to see how fast are you going to keep calling back. Are you going to keep calling back every 30 seconds, every minute, every 5 minutes? If you do that, to them, it may potentially draw a conclusion in their mind that you're acting out of desperation. You really are desperate for the job. Which the likely outcomes are this: either they blow you off, they give you a short 5 to 10 minute interview over the phone or on webcam, end the interview abruptly, and then give you a rejection notice. Or they're willing to hire you and lowball you on an hourly pay. No one can live on 12 to 14, not even $15 an hour. I don't care if you're fresh out of high school. And even for an employer to offer a college graduate, master's degree, EDD, PhD, $15 an hour to start out, that's a slap to that job applicant's face. So if you're one of many job applicants who has a degree, and an employer offers you $15, sometimes even $20 an hour start, don't lower your expectations because you need that job. You snub that employer. Snub them. When they say, this is all I'm paying, it's non-negotiable, end the call. That's it. Because if you keep calling that employer back after they allegedly ignored your return call on purpose to see how persistent you were in calling them back and trying to get that interview, then they're trying to allegedly draw up a scheme, not a scam, but some type of a legitimate scheme in their mind to offer you lowball pay. And a lot of employers are getting away with this right now, really and truly. $15 an hour. I mean, come on. $15 an hour? That's $1,200 before taxes. By the time they take out taxes, you're bringing home close to or a little over $900 every 2 weeks. You got rent. You have utility bills. You might have kids. You have to put food in the refrigerator. You have to put gas in your vehicle. You know how much a tank of gas? It's going near $80 right now for 4-door sedans, 2 and 4-door sedans. Trucks maybe a little over 100 or close to 200 just to fill up the tank. Just yesterday, I was at an Exxon gas station, and the Exxon Supreme was $5.19 a gallon. Who can live on $15 an hour? So, an employer calls you, you unintentionally missed a call, or you purposely ignored the call. You call them back, maybe you get through to them, schedule the interview, and they say, I'm only paying 12, 14, 15, 20 bucks an hour. Don't lower yourself. Because all you are to that employer, you are sheep. You are cattle. They don't care about you. What they care about is having another production worker there doing the job. And trust me, they will find a way to finagle your benefits so that all you're getting is just a check. It's not worth it. Moving on. Okay. The next one says the employer calls you. You text the number back to ask their prospective employer what company they're with. To find out, the employer replies to you from a different phone number, different area code, and a different state. That's definitely a red flag. You go to their website, and because you know how to read Amazon Alexa's site traffic rankings, their bar graph, you go to the company's website, you rank them on Alexa and Amazon's Alexa to see what their website traffic rank is, and you discover that they have plummeting search engine rankings. This is definitely a no-go. I don't know about y'all folks, but if an employer texts me from a specific number, and I text that employer back and say, hey, how you doing, or whatever the case is, what company are you with? They reply to me from a different telephone number, and they know my name, and they're replying to me from a different number, texting me back from a different number, and they're not telling me the salary information. Let's say if I text them back and say, hey, what company are you with and what's your starting salary or starting hourly pay for entry level positions in such and such department? If they're replying, number one, if they're replying back, texting you back from another number, that's a red flag. This is moreover a reason why you should start your own side hustle, your own online business, because we are actually living in a gig economy today where gigs, online side gigs, are proven to be more stable than traditional day jobs. Now, the noise that you hear outside is people out there doing their lawns or whatever. This is nothing but the devil. Every time I make a YouTube video, it's always somebody outside. It's always that you doggone heathens. Anyways, back to what I'm saying. Don't laugh too hard at that. So yeah. Number one, they're replying to you back from a different number. That right there is a red flag. I would not go along with that company, because if you go along with that company, there could be something that comes up while you're working for the company, and then they try to run game on you and then try to cover it up. So that to me is a red flag. Number two, if the company is hesitant about starting salary, reply to me with a starting pay. Hey, how much you starting out an hour? And you beating around the bush. That's more subliminal motivation. It's time to get your side hustle going, because as you go through the job interview process or the resume submission process, and you notice a pattern of employers playing different types of mind games, but it all sums up to one thing, that literally almost all of them are the same, then that right there should subliminally encourage you. It is really time to get your side hustle going. So that right there is a no-go. If an employer texts you from a different number, don't mess with them. Keep it moving. But bear in mind, have more faith in yourself and start your side hustle. Because remember, the purpose of getting a job is just to use that job to pay your utility bills, your rent, or your mortgage. But you also have to save up part of that money. Just remember, the job means just over broke. A job is not forever. Another goal that you should have when you get gainful employment, or when you achieve gainful employment, is setting aside some of your monies to invest in your side hustle. Because even if you have a PhD, no job is secure. I don't care if you're a federal government worker, if you're if you work in a school system, if you work in a bank. I've worked in plenty of banks, plenty. I mean, HSBC, BMT, oh gosh, 25, 26, 27 years ago, Chase Bank as a temp. I've worked for First USA, PNC Bank. I worked for, back in Pike Creek, Delaware, I worked for Associates National Bank, which used to be across the street from Golden Beacon College. I mean, I've been around and let me see. I've been up in HSBC, Beneficial Bank on 4th Street in Wilmington, across the street from the Wilmington Police Station when it was ghetto fabulous in there. Yeah. I've been at First USA out on 202, going to Concord Mall, right next to Independence Mall, when the First USA used to be the Correspondence Center. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I speak from experience. All right. So much for that. Moving on. The next one is you interview on the phone with an employer from a company who's been around since the late 1800s. After the prospective employer reviews your resume and notices you have a college degree, they disclose to you the position they're hiring for is a non-negotiable salaried position. Moreover, they have a sharp tone of voice, and they're firm on not being open to salary negotiations. Okay, this is another reason why you should really believe in yourself, and if you haven't already done so, take a leap of faith and start that side hustle. Employers don't care. They don't. They do not care. Even today, with the labor shortage still lingering throughout not just the United States of America, but the world, employers don't want to budge. And when they don't want to budge, you have to dig deep in yourself and do the transformation work. How much do I believe in myself? Because you have to look at it like this. If that employer hires you and you have a degree and the money that you're hoping to get from that employer is a no-go, and you just take what they give you, guess what? The fact is this: you handed your power over to them. And this is what employers are accustomed to. When they when they interview and hire employees, they are used to employees handing their power over to the employer, because people need jobs. But on the flip side, people really need to dig deep within themselves and really think, what am I truly made of on an entrepreneurial level? Can I really use this internet to make it work? I mean, I watched this guy, Sean, on Side Hustle Inspiration, talk passionately about side hustles. Maybe I really need to just stop watching his videos just to watch them and dig deep in myself to see what I'm truly made of. When an employer, look at it like this. When an employer offers you an hourly pay or a starting salary that's less than satisfying, that employer is literally throwing you sloppy seconds. And what you're doing is you're taking it with open arms. You're taking it. Oh, thank you for your sloppy seconds. I just so appreciate you. Stop settling for the BS, okay? You're not getting any younger. Working for $35,000, $40,000 a year, even $50,000 a year, it just ain't cutting the mustard. You have to really dig in yourself. What can I do on this internet that can generate me let's say 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 a month? What am I truly made of? There's some things in me that I need to change. Number one, I need to level up. I need to stop taking sloppy jobs that are paying sloppy second hourly and annual wages. I need to, number two, change the way I think, which means cutting off family members, some or all, cut off some family members, cut off some friends, keep some people at a distance. You just say greetings and keep it moving. But let me just buckle down and really mentally get in the trenches and start outlining my side hustle objectives. I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about that. And employers, all they keep giving me is peanuts. I need to turn those peanuts into bars of gold using this. How can I do it? You start the process by refusing to settle for less from employers. Sometimes, even when you need a job and an employer is offering less than a satisfying salary, learn to say no. Learn to walk away. And if you're currently employed, and if an employer demotes your pay less than 90 days after you start on a job, ladies and gentlemen, learn to quit and walk away without a care in the world. But before you walk away, do not be nasty. Be respectful. And if a prospective employer offers you a job with a less than satisfying hourly pay or salary, when you reject that offer, please do the best of your ability to be respectful. There are some instances you slip with your tongue. I know I've done it. Oh, that's not good enough. Oh, yeah, you know what? You're fired. Get out of here. You're fired. Offer me that crappy pay. I've slipped up many times, but be respectful. Do your best and be respectful while rejecting the job offer or walking away and quitting the job. It is not just to save face, but Walking away respectfully builds inner strength. Never mind, oh man, I might want to go back there and reapply again someday. Oh, I want to work again. Never mind that. Walking away respectfully helps you keep your dignity. And it gives you strength. And also helps you to endure, withstand the BS, the nonsense that employers throw. All right. Let me go on to the next one here. All right. You interview with a prospective employer on webcam. Prior to interviewing with the employer on webcam, they rescheduled your initial job interview on Google Calendar. After rescheduling the interview, the employer tells you something came up. You agree to reschedule the interview. Then they send what looks like a duplicate email confirming your job interview date and time. And you're wondering why they sent you this email after you confirm the second interview again in Google Calendar. The first initial interview was scheduled for 30 minutes. Through Google Calendar, they now rescheduled the interview, originally set for 30 minutes. They knocked down the interview time to 15 minutes. When the interview starts on Google webcam, the interview really only lasted roughly about 12 minutes. Then you receive a rejection email the day after or 2 days later after the webcam interview. This right here, that's a red flag right there, ladies and gentlemen. This is moreover a reason why you need to keep working on your side hustle, because that right there is letting you know if you had taken that job and they hired you, the job would have been proven to be unstable. Now, most people would have worked through that job if they would have been hired and worked up to the point where an employer would have allegedly found a reason to let them go, maybe because of something happening within the company, or employee, they're going to say less than satisfying employee onboarding performance, or whatever the case is. I myself have been through enough experiences when I was working to notice these red flags ahead of time. And if an employer does that, you have to build your side hustle. Take whatever savings that you have right now, and I would dearly recommend investing in a domain name and small business web hosting, and ask your hosting provider if you go with One-on-One or Bluehost or GoDaddy or Fat Cow or whoever else, DreamHost. Ask your web hosting provider to install WordPress on your small business web server. Blogging is a great way to supplement your income in between job searches and building income while actively employed. It is the simplest way. It doesn't require coding. It doesn't require previous online marketing experience. But blogging is pretty much... Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. All right. So I have my laptop riding shotgun here on my desk, right? And now sometimes I tend to take the laptop along with me. Blogging is basically just typing in your blog on your keyboard and hitting the publish button and monetizing your blog with ads. That's pretty much it. Excuse me one second. All right. Plug this back in. Folks, employers can play all kinds of games. I've been through all kinds of stuff. I mean, oh my goodness. I have so much stuff in the back of my mind. I can't get this content out fast enough, but I'm really thankful that you are actually paying attention and listening to my videos, because I'm really giving out priceless information. Like I said, let me reiterate this one more time. You apply for a job, right? Prospective employer replies back to you. They schedule you for an interview on a certain date and a certain time. They pencil you in virtually into Google Calendar. You confirm the date that you're available. They allow you to set the times on specific dates and times that you are available to do the interview on webcam. So let's say if you select March 7th at 12 o'clock p.m. Okay, 12 o'clock to 12:30. Okay, March 7th, 12 o'clock to 12:30. The employer emails you a couple of days later. Oh, something came up. I have to reschedule the interview. Okay, that's fine. Let's schedule another day and time. Okay, let's say you reschedule for March 10th, 12 o'clock to 12:30. The employer confirms that. Then they send you some kind of duplicate email about the confirmation for March 10th, 12 to 12:30. You reply back and say, yeah, we already confirmed this. Why are you sending me the email again for? They reply back with whatever gibberish they say. Now they're asking you to reschedule again for another day. So you're like, that's 2 times. This employer is really unstable. Maybe I need to continue working on my side hustle. So for the benefit of the doubt, you reschedule a second or third time. This time, you notice in Google Calendar, what was initially the 30-minute interview to be conducted on Google Webcam has now been hacked down to 15 minutes. How much about yourself can you get out to a prospective employer looking to hire qualified job candidates in 15 minutes? But they don't actually give you the 15 minutes when they turn on the webcam for you. It's about 12 minutes. And then the employer has a sharp tone of voice and says, oh, thank you. You already know you wasted your time. This is what I was pointing out to you and telling you this is the reason why you need to really believe in yourself and buckle down and change the history of your human thought process and get that side hustle going, because degreed up or no degree, if you continue believing in employers that you can get a well-paying job and stay on a job today for 20 to 30 years, you're fooling yourself, Jack. Okay? This video is to open up your mind and your understanding that a job is not what it is. It is something to hold you over temporarily till the next check. But you're 90% unlikely to make it to retirement. Moving on. Next one is you interview with an employer over the phone for a remote job position. The agency that interviewed you stated they would submit your profile and try to get you employed with the banking institution. After submitting your resume to the banking institution and applying for the job on your behalf, and then you going into that banking institution's website and adding a second coding by manually submitting your resume, you receive an immediate automated rejection email from the banking institution. After you email the agency that was trying to initially get you in the door with that bank, they outright ignore you. Folks, let that sink in. Temp agency submits your resume on, they do the first initial action step and submit your resume so that they can make money off of you. Then you go into the bank website and you submit your resume. Degree or no degree, but you have previous experience. The automated rejection email comes to you less than 10 minutes after you submit your resume. That right there is a red flag that not just the bank, but employers don't care about you. My question to you is this: how much do you care about yourself? Do you care enough about yourself to start a business? Or do you think less of yourself to continue chasing after employers and chasing their coattails for less than satisfying pay? We all need money, including myself. And Settling for less makes you look less in the eyes of employers. If you have a particular skill set, I don't care what it is, whether it's fixing computers, customer service, do-it-yourself tips, I don't know, whatever it is, building things, roofing, whatever it is. You know your skill set, you know your skills, you know your worth. Don't go chasing the employer. Because when you chase an employer, that allows them to control you. They reject you, you leave it as is. Walk away. If they contact you later, ignore them. Just accept it for what it is. While you're going through and enduring the process of getting rejected across the board for employment, do not get depressed. It is a normal human feeling to feel down. Oh, nobody wants me. Nobody knows the troubles and the woes. Get out of that mind. Don't even let the devil bring you down. This is your test. How much can you endure before experiencing unthinkable success in your side hustle? If you can get through all of this rejection and still build a business, that speaks volumes about your character. Never mind these employers turning you away. They are the ones losing out on you. Don't you lower yourself and keep chasing them. They just don't know. But they will know the moment you become successful and you're prime time. Wait a minute. That's the one I rejected? The same one that rejects you will be the same ones coming back trying to speak. I know. I'm speaking from experience. I'm not saying this just to get watch time on YouTube. I'm speaking on a dating level. Yes, dating. And I'm speaking on a business professional level. Please take notes. Pay attention. Okay. Next, you're working for a banking institution. Oh, sucky. This one will be good now. By the way, shout out to Les, team lead. Thanks for everything. You're working for a banking institution and making some satisfactory money working remotely from home. The banking institution is merging with another bank. While in transition to the merging bank, to the two banks merging, you receive a retention notice stating your initial hourly pay will be reduced by close to $3. The new bank wants you to re-sign the retention letter because they've already offered you a first initial retention letter offering a $2,000 sign-on bonus, and then they switched up and now they're offering you another retention letter offering you a $3,000 sign-on bonus, but under specific terms and conditions. So the new bank wants you to re-sign the retention letter agreeing to the hourly pay less than almost $3. No negotiation on the hourly pay. Submit to a urine screening and be willing to drive almost 40 miles or a little over 40 miles to a training site for new hire training without regard to keeping you at the same pay rate you were hired at. Think about this. This is the moreover reason for you to build a business and shame the employer who hired you. And this is one of my personal experiences that I've been through. Let me just talk to you a bit. So, in the past, I was hired by a bank, and I'm not going to drop the name. If you know me personally, you already know. I was hired in the past to work remotely from home with the company laptop, name tag, and all of that. I didn't have to go into the office like that for meetings or whatever, just training sessions here and there. So, pay was all right. It wasn't all that, but it was a little over the peanut level. I worked from home as customer service agent for a bank and had their company laptop and whatnot. Everything was going fine. And so they come to me with this retention letter saying, we're going to pay you $2,000 cash sign-on bonus, but it had specific terms and conditions, and I had to read the little fine print. I'm like, why would you even say this? Why are you even saying this little stuff in this clause? Why are you even saying this to me? Mind you, I just got hired for the job, and I'm less than 90 days in. I'm like a little over 2 months into this job. So I'm working from home. Sometimes I'm working in my underwear, and I was really glad that I didn't have to go into the office. I don't like going to meetings, working around people or anything like that. And then I get a second retention letter saying, we're going to pay you $3,000, but we're going to pay you over the year. We're going to pay you 1,000 here, 1,000 here, and 1,000 here. But part of the terms and conditions for getting the retention, the sign-on bonus, is based on your performance. Well, my team leader, I'm just going to say his name, Les. And Les, if you're watching, you know who you are. I want to thank you so much, Mr. Les, for ignoring me. I was on to you the whole time. I was noticing how you were ignoring me when I was reaching out for help. I thank you so much, Les, because I bested you at your own game, sir. You're so proper sound. Has anybody ever told you sound a little bit like Obama on the phone? Yeah, man, it's your little proper sounding self. And you just thought you just had me locked in. Congrats, congrats, congrats. Man, I'm glad I played you like a fool. Thanks again, Les. And you know what? No hard feelings, because this was a test of my personal faith. Before I quit the job and walked away from the bank, this was my personal test of how much I believe in myself. And I just had to get that off my chest. I'm not going to hold that against you, because I knew that you were allegedly conspiring with your little shenanigans, allegedly, I don't know for sure, in lowering my pay. But I believe enough in myself to walk off the job and, do my own thing. I'm really glad that Les was ignoring me while I had this remote work from home job, because he indirectly tested my faith. And while he was allegedly thinking, I'm not sure, while he was allegedly thinking and potentially looking forward to me failing on the job because of the fact that he was likely ignoring me, which I felt he was purposely doing, it tested my inner faith. What am I made of? Can I endure this without being disrespectful to him? Oh, man, why you ignoring me, man? What's going on? I keep reaching out to you to help me with this and that, and I feel like you blowing me off. Why you doing that? Why you being a sucker, Les? Nah, I never disrespected him. Always treated the young guy with respect. And even out the door, sending my resignation letter via email, I was still very respectful. And when you walk away from a job, I can't emphasize enough, be respectful. Even if the pay is less than satisfying, even if the sign-on bonus terms and conditions switch up on you, be respectful, because that builds inner strength. If you can endure that, what else can you endure? You can endure a life of entrepreneurship. You can endure building your side hustle brick and mortar style from the ground floor up. you can endure going through the awesome trials and tribulations associated with entrepreneurship, and you can endure much more than you can imagine. The last one, you worked, and I'm speaking from my experience. Let me see how I could say this, or put this in third person. You worked third shift in a bank, and what was originally intended between the temp agency, yourself, and the bank to be an 18-month assignment actually panned out to be, I'm going to say, a little over 15 months before they wrongfully terminated you due to most likely the reason of claiming the Lord Jesus on the job. After you were allegedly set up for wrongful termination because they did not likely want to hear you discussing the Lord Jesus or defending God on the job if a co-worker disrespected God by bad-mouthing the Lord in the open, they terminated you. But before they wrongfully terminated you, they pull you in an office and tell you straight up in so many words, if you hear someone bad-mouthing God, do not defend God. You are to mind your business and keep quiet. You have an obligation. If you are someone who is striving to be a Christian or striving to be saved, and even though you might be a sinner, like me, I'm still a sinner, but I have a mind that I want to be saved because I know that this world is temporary. If you hear someone bad-mouthing God, you better, and I'm being dead serious, you better by all means break all of your employer's laws and stand up and defend the Lord thy God, even if you lose your job. Because you know what? God is in that room watching, and he's listening, and he already knows if you're going to stand up for him. He already knows if you're going to, I don't even want to say the word. Oh no. He already know. You're just going through the motions. It is best to break your employer's laws, defy your employer, defy them, ignore them, disrespect them spiritually. You disrespect them by standing up and defending the Lord. If you hear someone on the job bad-mouthing God, you disrespect your employer. I'm encouraging you to do it. Disrespect them and break their laws by standing up and defending God. Even if you get fired, do it. Stand up and defend God. Do it. Defend God. Do it. So, this temp agency finds out that you are defending the Lord, and they send one of their temp agency representatives in the room with you along with bank management to warn you that if you defend God and you don't mind your business, in so many words, you're going to lose your job. You end up ignoring them and still defending God. You end up getting wrongfully terminated. So they wait until you're close to your 18-month end assignment. But because you went against the grain and you're still giving pushback to management and telling them, I'm going to defy you, and you're also telling one of the management personnel in the closed door meeting that the Lord will be exalted in the earth among the heathen. You're saying it right to their face. You're letting them know, I'm not listening to you. They wait close to your 18-month assignment, but they terminate you a little over 15 months, and then they come up with the poor excuse. Low numbers. Let them lie. Don't ask for your job back. Let them fire you. Do not go to the EEOC because you're not going to get any investigation. Do not take the company to court. Do not take the temp agency to court. Do not sue them. Because now this is a religious war between them warring against the Lord. You build your business and you keep moving. But at the same time, get out of job mindset, just over broke. Because the next employer is most likely going to be told by your last employer, this one is, he's not quite obedient. They're going to get the word out. This is why you need to believe in yourself and build a side hustle. But also, let me finish telling you. The same agency might contact you because you did such a great job. They may contact you a year or close to 2 years later, offering you a job opportunity. If you were such a spiritual troublemaker and such a bad person at the time, working this almost 18-month assignment, why would the agency contact you later on to offer you a job? I'm pointing all of this out to you because I'm showing you the numerous ways employers play games. Let me finish off this video by telling you this. If you work for someone and it doesn't work the first time around, be respectful on the way out the door. Even when I was wrongfully terminated for what I believe was the main reason, was standing up for the Lord thy God and defending God. And I defended the Bible. This is not a game. I've really been through this, folks. In a bank, working third shift. I defended God and I defended the Bible. And I didn't have a care in the world. I told management right to their faces, I don't have a care in the world about losing my job. Because you know what? The Lord Jesus is my provider. God will provide. For me to lean on flesh, I'd be a jackrabbit to do that. Flesh is temporary, so is this earth. And I know as much as I talk about making money, don't get so engulfed in making money, because money come, money go. It's your soul in the end that you got to worry about. But don't settle for less for an employer. If it don't work out the first time with an employer, if they come back later on emailing you, calling you, or texting you about a job opportunity, don't badmouth that employer. Even when they disrespected me and threw me to the curb for defending God and want to say low numbers, your assignment ended. Do you have anything you want to say? Be respectful. Even though they're doing you wrong, this is my rebuttal. Nope, I don't have anything to say. I didn't say that, but I said, nope, thanks for the opportunity. Nope, thanks for the opportunity. Hang up the phone. There's nothing else to talk about. Nope, thanks for the opportunity. Bye. Sometimes keep your mouth, you keep yourself out of a lot of trouble, you avoid additional problems, because now you need to shift focus up here and build your side hustle. So let me finish back to what I was saying. If that same employer who was a partaker in your wrongful termination come back to you a year later, or a couple of months, or even close to 2 years later, emailing, calling, or texting you about a job opportunity, you might need a job. By no means do ever respond to them. I'm going to be flat out, straight up, dead serious with you. The bullet an employer missed you with the first time around, if you give that employer who was a partaker in your wrongful termination a second chance, and you go and work for that employer again, or a temporary employment agency, you are giving them a bullet, an extra bullet for their gun they missed you with the first time around. Forgive employers, management, personnel for their wrongdoing. Forgive them for how they treated you, talked to you, threatened you. Forgive them for that. By no means, don't ever forgive an employer to the point that employer that did you wrong, don't ever forgive them. to the point of going back and working for them again. Because the second time around, they're going to get you. I think George Bush had a saying, you fool me once, shame on you. Fool me once, you can't fool me again. In other words, if you fool me twice, the second time, that's on me. Because I was dumb enough to go back. The first time, that's on the employer. Do not forgive an employer to the point if they wrong you. Forgive their actions. But if you see them in passing, if they speak, depending on how the end result was, greetings or hello, you keep it moving. If it was really that bad, keep your mouth shut and just keep it moving. Don't badmouth nobody. Don't curse nobody. Because they can lie and say terroristic threatening. And then that's your life on hold of moving forward. I hope you got something from this video. Because a lot of this stuff that I just mentioned is from my personal work experiences. I have been through so much. Now you look at my little baby face, but I think he ain't been through nothing. Listen, I'm going on 50 years old. 50 is right around the corner from me. I'm not far from it. I have so much stuff in my head. I can't get this content out fast enough, folks. I've been through all kinds of games. Oh my goodness. Woo! I didn't even get into the stuff that I've been through down in Florida almost 21 years ago. That's those shenanigans. I might get into that later. Anyways, I hope you got something out of this video, and I thank you so much for your time watching. Maybe you got something out of this video that will inspire you to stop settling for less from employers prior to being hired, or stop settling for less from an employer as one of their current employees. Stop making employers rich when all they give you is a can of beans, man. Now, I notice for an employer bad mouth of me, treating me wrong from Jump Street, that's going to motivate me to build my side hustle. Become less independent of that employer. Until I earn enough that, okay, I don't need you anymore. Bye. No employer that does you wrong wants to discover in secret later down the road you either became an online millionaire working from home, or you're well on your way, or you're very close to becoming an online millionaire. That would heap coals upon their head. Wait a minute. This one that I mistreated, this one that I offered less than satisfying pay, I'm paying everybody $20 or $25 an hour. I'm going to offer them $12 an hour. You mean to tell me the one that I offered $12 an hour to is getting ready to be a millionaire? They're going to hate themselves in secret. If they come across you, they'll try to play cool and most likely try to speak, but they're going to hate themselves in secret for the way that they treated you, because you were smart enough and you used this, you slipped out of their hands. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you got something out of it, let me know how you feel about it in the comments below. You're welcome to share this video on Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, LinkedIn, Reddit, Mix, Flipboard, and elsewhere. All right, this is Sean with Side Hustle Inspiration, where I inspire good working class people to change the history of the human thought process and going from employee to entrepreneur. Peace.